Adam, there's going to be an awful lot of emotion. I know there is. What are your thoughts after that? You must be very, very proud despite the defeat.
Yeah, I don't think the players could have given any more. I thought they put in a brilliant performance. Did everything that I asked them to do, and I felt the first half there was not much in it. I felt we had a big chance with gold. They had a few moments, mostly off corners, which we suspected. But I felt we were getting right on top of the game in the second half. Felt we were getting stronger. Felt we had good control of the game. Felt we looked comfortable in the game. And it felt for a period of that second half like if there was any team going to go on and get the opening goal, it was going to be us. Obviously, we hit the post, Amami. Tom Wilson put a header over the bar. And then the game kind of started to drift, and it just felt like it would drift into extra time. And then it's just what the playoffs are. They're cruel. We've just been done by a free kick, and obviously that's the end of our season, and it's painful, and it hurts. But I couldn't be any more proud of these players. To have the season that we've had and get into the playoffs, and then to come to such a big game and perform the way that we did. I'm absolutely gutted for them, and obviously for the supporters who've travelled up, and that's pretty much all I feel.
I mean, the way you came into this game, very little between the two sides in the division. That told again today. But credit to every single player out there, because that was a great advert.
I think this level of football is only getting stronger all the time. They're a good team. I mean, they've got a good manager and they're a good side. They're always in the playoffs, and they've got that know-how. And I felt there were spells in that game where we were the better team, but ultimately they're the ones that have progressed, and fair play to them, and we wish them well on Saturday. But I think it was probably for supporters coming, certainly those that were neutral, I think they would probably be going home having enjoyed that game. But it's no consolation for us because we're obviously out and the season's done.
Just that one moment, wasn't it? That one free kick that they did differently.
Yeah, just pushed it down the side. They're probably one of the best teams in the league at set plays, and I felt the players dealt incredibly well with the vast majority of things that they put in there, off free kicks, corners, long throws, and then we've just been caught out with one push down the side, and it's cruel, but that's the playoffs for you.
It's weird, the different emotions in it. Last year, the relief and the getting out of jail, if you like, to this season when you're on the verge of something greatness at the other end, how it can kick you.
Yeah, listen, losing any game of football hurts. Playoffs, probably the best way to go up if you manage to do it, but it's by far the worst to lose. But I think from where we've come from, we've completely turned the fortunes of the club around, in my opinion. You look at the other teams that are up and in the playoffs, and Brackley, who've gone on to win the league. They've all had time. We've had not as much time, and I think that makes our achievement of getting in the playoffs even better. But your objective to get in the playoffs is to try and get promoted, and it is an achievement finishing in the playoffs in this division because it's so grueling. But we haven't got promoted, and that really stings.
Teams have shown that they've got over the disappointment of a playoff one year and then getting promotion. Are you looking forward to the next part of the journey?
Yeah, I mean, I've just said to the players the last time I was in the playoffs as a manager, we got beat when I was at Farsley, and that was my first full season. And I said to the players that if we can keep the majority of the group together and just recruit wisely and strengthen where we need to strengthen, then there's no reason why we can't try and win the league next year or go up. And I managed to do that at Farsley. And that's what I'll try and do here, providing that I get the support that I feel I've now warranted.
It's going to be a key few weeks, if you like, waiting to hear that.
Yeah, listen, this will be raw and it'll hurt for a day or two, but then, as a manager, you've just got to dust yourself down, go again, and start planning for the next season. We've obviously got a lot of players that are still under contract for next season. We've got a lot of players who we've got options on for next season that we've got to decide what we want to do with. And we've got a few players that are out of contract who we've got to make decisions on whether we offer them new terms or not. So, and once we've kind of got over that stage, then it'll be a case of looking at what we need to get better. But I want support and I want backing because I feel like I've really helped this football club move a long way forward in a short space of time, and hopefully that'll be noticed and we can have a right go next year.
Let's certainly hope that things are sorted out sooner rather than later. But just back onto this one, the current crop who gave everything today and over the season. It has been a good season, hasn't it? Even though it is going to hurt.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough for these lads. I mean, I think I've always managed to find a way to put together good groups of lads who just we develop a spirit and a bond, and we give everything to one another. And this group is no different to that. They come in, they work hard every day. There's no clowns, there's no individuals. They understand that they're part of a group and that each and every one of them is valued as highly as the others. And I was so desperate for us to progress tonight, because maybe that little bit of belief then that you have going into the next game. But we've just fallen the wrong side of a very tight game. But I have no regrets over the way the players performed, and as always they gave everything for Sam, myself, one another, and the club. And I'm incredibly proud of them for that.
I think it said a lot as well when Andy Priest, he didn't celebrate, he just came over and gave you a good hug. He knew he'd been in a battle.
Yeah, but listen, he's a good manager and he's a classy guy. So he's lost playoff games as well before, so he knows how you feel as a manager when you do. But it's always going to be tough for us coming here tonight, and I felt we've performed incredibly well. They've had to work super hard to progress, and unfortunately for us, they have done, and we wish them all the best in the next game.
Do you think it's major surgery? I mean, you've done so well that from an outsider looking in, you think, well, go again with the same people because they've done so well. But is it tinkering with that, or is it a major thing, major bit of change that's got to be made?
We certainly do not need major surgery. I think we'll be stronger next year for the experience that we've had this season and obviously this evening. I've never really been a big believer in constant like revolving door of players, loads of players out, loads of players in. I think the best approach is to just keep on building and keep on growing with the players that you've got, and naturally you're always looking to try and improve, and we'll certainly have to do that because we've fallen short, but we're not a million miles away. And I think a lot of these lads, some of them, it's the first year in full-time football. A lot of them have moved away from home. Some lads have stepped up a division or two, and a lot of them are at a good age where I think they'll keep on getting better. So it won't be major surgery at all. It'll just be trying to add quality in areas where I feel we need it, and hopefully that'll see us have another good run next year.
I have to ask this question because you've mentioned a couple of times you want support. Is that financial support or just the way the club is run in a different way support?
I think there's a lot.
Everybody manager I'm sure wants money to spend, but
yeah, I think there's a lot of parts of the football club that we've helped to improve, not only the team, and that shows our investment in, not just improving the football team, but trying to improve the football club as a whole. I think there's certainly areas where we have to get better off the pitch, because generally they go hand in hand. If things are plain sailing off the pitch, and settled off the pitch, and you've got a reliable support network off the pitch, then it only filters into the team on the pitch. That's what I believe. There's been quite a lot of noise, in recent weeks and months, probably internally and externally. And as a manager, you try and protect the players from that, because we've got a job to do. And I feel that we've managed that incredibly well. I think the players have just got on with it, not looked at it to make as an excuse. But there's obviously aspects off the field that have been difficult for me personally to deal with, and Sam, and hopefully that can all now get resolved so that we can be given the best support and chance next year to keep moving us forward.
The one I have to ask: what areas do you think need improving?
Well, I think the obvious one is we haven't scored enough goals. That is the obvious one. I think in saying that, I feel we've been unlucky as well this season. Johnny was absolutely flying at the start of the season, and then he just an innocuous incident against Curzon broke his back. He's out for 8-9 weeks, and he's probably not got back to the same level that he was at before, and that's nobody's fault. But he's probably not, and then we've had spells where Gold's been out injured. We had a long period where we had both of them out injured, and we were playing Hamami up front. So that's probably the obvious area. Is we need to add more goals to the team, and that's not just strikers. The goals have got to come from everywhere. Probably haven't got enough goals from midfield this year. So I think we just need to look to just bring in players that are going to just give us a little bit more, and hopefully that'll give us a little bit more return in terms of goal creation, goals scored. And I think last year we finished 41 points behind the team that won the league. I think this year we've finished 13 points behind. So we've made a tremendous dent in that gap. We need to turn a few of them narrow defeats into narrow wins, and some of them 0-0 draws into 1-0 wins. And if we do that, then there's no reason why we can't be challenging next year.
You did say off the pitch as well, things that need to be improved or changed.
Yeah, I think there's things that need sorting out that that is probably not my place to say, but I'm the one who has to come and speak to you guys. So I'm the obvious one to ask, but I'm probably not the one that can answer the questions you guys have to ask as part of your job, and I respect that. But I look at levels of professionalism that we've tried to implement within the things that we control around the first team, and I don't think there's much more we can do. There's bits and pieces we can improve on, but that'll probably require some further investment financially. things like the pitch. The pitch was miles off it in the summer. We've got a better groundsman in. I'm sure the pitch will be better next year, and that will hopefully, some of the football we played at times today, because the pitch is just a little bit better. That's another area that we can improve, and there's other things as well. But I'm just here to manage the football team. We need, yeah.
I'll keep it simple. Just one for me. With what we've just spoken about, have you sort of got a timeline? Obviously, like you said, it's still going to be raw. This is going to be raw for a couple of days, but things with players you may keep, may not keep, offer contracts. Is that likely to be decided sooner rather than later?
I think if memory serves me right, we've got 7 days for the ones who we've got options on, whether we trigger them options or not. So it gives us a week to make. But to be honest, we've got a pretty good idea of what direction we're going to go in, because we've already started to plan. But I need clarity on a few things from the chairman and from Joe, on budget, and because that might decide how we, what direction we take. So I have asked that question a couple of weeks ago, and now they need to give me an answer pretty quick.
And you've still got a year left, haven't you, yourself? Is it a year or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. So yeah, let's just.
And did you have an option of extending that as well, or was it just a sort of 2.5 year deal?
No, I think there's an option there to extend, but I've just got to get over this tonight first, and have conversations with the powers that be, and then let's see what we do for next season first.
I mean, obvious reasons you're not happy, but tonight, because of the result, it's gone against you. But how happy are you at the football club in general?
I love the players. They're a pleasure to come in and work with every day. We've got fantastic facilities. We do things properly. There's things that I think have to just settle down a little bit off the pitch, but that's out of my control. What I would say, chairman's, I can't speak highly enough of how supportive the chairman has been of me, and I really enjoy working with him. He understands football more than probably any other chairman I've worked with. He leaves me to it now. Maybe not at the beginning, because you build a trust with people. He gets stick at times, which is maybe sometimes warranted, but then I think he gets stick at times which isn't deserved. But obviously there's a lot of noise at the minute around the chairman, Joe, Turn Capital, the Community Supporters Trust, and I just think that there needs to be a resolution one way or another, so that we can crack on and work, because it's certainly not going to help me in the summer if there's noise in the background. So I've done the best that I can to protect the players from it, and brought them as far as we possibly can. And I'm gutted for everybody at the football club that we've fallen short. But hopefully they'll see the progress we've made, and find a way to back us that little bit extra next year, and hopefully we can do something special.
And people probably forget the chairman went out his way to bring you here as well, didn't he, to the football club?
Yeah, listen, I'll be forever in debt to the chairman, because he gave me an opportunity to manage full time, and I've now shown that I can do that. There would have been probably nobody else down there that probably didn't have a clue who I was, to be honest. But he obviously did his own work, and he felt that I was a good fit, and I'd have to probably say that he got it right. I'm ambitious, and I want to keep building. I can't be at a football club that isn't always looking to move forward, especially if I'm driving 400 miles a day to do it. I need to know that we want to keep moving forward, and so long as that's the case, then everything's cosy. But we'll have to just see how the next few days and weeks go.
I do really want to ask you whether you'll be here next season, but I'm not sure that if you'll punch me or just answer me.
I won't ever punch you, Chris. Well, yeah, I'm under contract, and I have no plans not to be. But I feel, I feel like I've earned the right to, we've took the club from second off bottom with 8 points after 10 games. We've kept them up with a crap group of players when the club was in tatters off the pitch. And we've rebuilt and put together a group that gives it all every week for this club, that have got to the playoffs, that have finished only 13 points off top of the league. And we've just missed out narrowly tonight despite performing incredibly well. So, I want to know that I can keep building this team and this football club and moving it forwards. And if that's the case, then let's have it.
Definitely, maybe.
Good track.